Why did I want to not use a low angle adapter? Okay, my sharpening style is such that I look at any knife the same, and I try to put a clamping style to all knives in general. So being able to clamp every knife right in the vise and have that low angle ability for me was paramount. And when I worked with the Wicked Edge 130, that Wicked Edge first introduced, the Wicked Edge 130 vise that I have on the Wicked Edge 130 and the Gen 3 Pros, that taller vise that locked this way, when I put it on my base the first time, I had a lot of experience with the standard vise and it was taller. And in the same situation, it gave me better low angle range. So I liked that height. And I learned when I started with the Pro Pack 2, it came with a riser block and a longer square bar. So I learned about the angle change. And then when I put the taller vise and then I put the riser underneath it, and now I was sharpening knives clamped right in the vise. Shallow knives, not very tall knives, at 15 degrees, and maybe I would have preferred it to be 14 degrees, but I settled for 15 degrees. But I was clamping knives and using them in the vise without the low angle adapter because I had the higher, taller vise and a riser. So that's where all of my stuff came from, that I try to not need to use this. Now, for those of you who are sharpening a wide range of knives and don't look at it as scrutinizing as I do, where, working with a microscope and a computer laptop and looking at the screen and seeing the heights and getting nuts on it. But it's easier for me when I have a riser underneath instead of having this height difference on the top and having to add it with each individual knife, and then it was something more involved with your alignment guide, and it just became more complicated. Then we were using bigger alignment guides, and it just was simpler for me to try to continue to use this vise with the alignment guide holes and a riser underneath. And that's the direction that I went with my sharpening. I don't sharpen a lot of knives that are wide angle because when you get taller, you widen that triangle, so you have to get wider away from the vise, which is what you want, so you don't scuff it, but you have to get wider away from it just for that low angle. And you run out of space. You don't get any wider. It just, the machine doesn't go any wider, so you lose the wide angle range. So for some people that sharpen maybe bushcraft knives and things like that that have very wide angles, by changing the geometry, and it's not permanent, but it's not a quick on, quick off like the low angle adapter that you use it once and take it off and now you're back to null, you're back to the basic setup. You put a riser block under it and it's like, jacking up your car or lowering your car. It can be removed if you didn't do any modifications. It can be unbolted, but this is meant to work with it all the time. I don't do a lot of wide angle knives, so it's not a problem for me. In fact, very few people have a problem with the riser block. The other thing that the riser block does is by raising this height, it makes the stones more efficient because they fit against the vise such that you're using more of the stone. Whereas without the riser block, the stone starts higher up and you're using less of the stone. Now, if you put the low angle adapter on it, it's the same thing. And now the low angle adapter makes your sharpening with your stones more efficient. The problem is with the low angle adapters, you're taking a highly precise clamping vise and you're putting a standard vise in it that does cant the blade. So that's why I stay away from this and I choose to go underneath. It does everything it's supposed to do. Let me make sure that's clear. I think it's 100% worth the money. I think it's something that everybody needs to have if you're not doing something else to augment your geometry and you're seeking to sharpen low bevel angle knives. Thanks.